here to talk brewing, beer styles, recipe development, finding the right flavor.
Wait, so you're saying malt has flavor?
Whoa, imagine that. And if it doesn't, you're using the wrong supplier. So.
Oh. Yeah, what do we have here today?
We've got 5 different malts I picked out today to kind of talk about flavor and recipe development and brewer application. Yeah, so, you know, anybody that's a brewer that's coming up with a new recipe, a new style, they're trying to figure out what am I going to use? Do you use what you always use, or are you trying to achieve something different? What do you do? Like, do you say I want to brew an IPA, and okay, I'll just take any IPA, or like where do you start your kind of recipe development process?
Just basically straight up like I want it to look like milk, so we do Pils malt. Nailed it.
All right.
Yeah, and that's about as detailed as I go.
Oh, it sounds like there's a lot of beta-glucans in that Pilsner malt you're using. Really cloudy and really fuzzy.
Yeah.
Are you one of those brewers that adds flour to the wort in the mash process to increase your your cloudiness in the beer?
We do. I would say to adjust cloudiness, we do adjust the boil pH and things like that, as well as add like wheat and flaked ingredients. But when it comes to our base malt, to be honest, not giving so much thought. It's either pale malt from the major supplier and or Pilsner malt from major supplier. And then occasionally we'll brew a stout, and then we just find a recipe that looks interesting, or more like research 1,000 recipes and see what it's interesting.
You're kind of looking to the different malts that are in.
Usually listen to a podcast about stouts from brewers, and then go ahead deep. But
I mean, a lot of our customers, when they kind of call and they say, "What Bonsak malt should I use for this style?" I get that question all the time.
Right.
A Rogan beer, a Vienna lager. West Coast IPA, what should I do? And like my first question I always ask them is, what flavor profile are you trying to achieve in your final beer?
Right.
Because if I don't know that, I can't tell you what sort of malts to use from the Bonsak portfolio and what percentages, but I'm always kind of very cautious, far be it my place as the maltster to tell a brewer how to brew his beer. I don't want to be that guy. Brewers are the kings of their castle, like I am mine, and that's the way it should be. But of course, I sit, on a lot of knowledge about which different styles to use for different products. So like if you were to call me and say, hey, I want to brew a Saison, what would you use? Like, well, most people would always use a Pilsner malt for that, but there's a reason why we made a farmhouse malt. And what should a farmhouse malt taste like? It should be kind of raw, grainy, lightly grassy, hay. You want it to kind of give it that raw character of an old world seasonal beer.
Yeah, it kind of tastes like a farm.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to hear you say that it tastes like a farm, but let's be careful. We don't want our beer tasting like any farm.
Yeah, you don't want it to taste like certain parts of the farm.
That's exactly right.
Probably the ground of the farm.
But, a grain farm that's, you smell some hay, you smell some kind of that raw, grainy character, earthy character, that fits well in certain beer styles. Like a Saison or a Golden Sour, other types of styles as well. But we did, when we started, we noticed that nobody was producing a farmhouse malt. It was, you had to be a small scale maltster, just making malt for yourself for your home beer to be able to make a farmhouse. We thought that would be an interesting product for people. Yeah. So it's that's been an interesting product to have on the market just for people that really are dedicated Saison brewers. There's not too many of them out there, but
yeah. So you'd recommend it kind of with like a Saison kind of farmhouse style yeast, very heavy in the base malt.
Yeah, I mean it is a base malt. It has all of the diastatic power for full conversion, like all of our other base malts. Yeah. But one home brewer, he contacted me out of Rogaland and said, this farmhouse malt, why is nobody using this in an IPA? But a lot of people like a little bit of that grassiness in their IPAs. It's just usually primarily coming from the hops, but some people like a little bit of that grassiness. So he was experimenting a little bit to kind of what inclusion ratios he would do to kind of provide a new element to his IPA.
Does it give a lot of color, this?
No, it's the lightest malt we have in the portfolio. I think it's like 2.6 EBC.
Okay, yeah.
It's straw,
Yeah,
it's light. It's really light.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the farmhouse malt. It hasn't always been our biggest seller. It's always been kind of a love it or hate it type relationship with a lot of brewers, because a lot of people think, oh, this is too grassy or too green. It's like, well, does it fit in the style that you were trying to fit it in? Is that the flavor profile you were trying to achieve or not? Because if it wasn't, and that's what you did, and that's what you got, then I can understand it.
Yeah. I used something that makes it taste like farmhousey, and I didn't want it to taste like farmhouse. What the hell?
But some people people's perception, it's kind of like smoke malt beers in a way. It's a love it or hate it, but the level of intensity of smoke is very personal dependent, right?
Right.
And so like the farmhousey, grassy thing, that's kind of along that lines as well.
Yeah.
But then the next malt we're going to go into is our fairy tale. Yeah. Chew some grain, chuck it in the drain. If you taste a lot of malts in your life, like I do, chewing malts a lot, tasting malts, you end up with a husk, get caught in your throat, and then you can't talk for 15 minutes, so I'm going to avoid that today. This is our fairy tale ale malt. And when we first started, we were always interested in having that kind of Maris Otter competitor in a way that has a lot of depth, a lot of breadiness. Definitively toasty, not a roasted malt, but tastes like really toasted bread, some kind of waffle batter, kind of sugar cookie-ish, but a little bit kind of on the dark side.
Yeah.
But has this really distinctive toastiness. So we have a lot of brewers that have used this pale malt as kind of their standard pale malt. Think it's a little bit too English.
Right,
a little too much breadiness.
Yeah.
So they kind of would either cut it down with like either percentage of hop shiner or American style 2-row malt.
Yeah.
Or some Pilsner malt, or a standard kind of continental pale, or what we have newly launched, a Nordic pale.
Okay.
So which is kind of, we can't call our pale a continental pale because we're in the Nordics. That would be stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, there really is like very different than the previous one, and much more like bready, like you said.
And that's kind of a step from 2.6 to 3 EBC up to kind of 6.5, 7.
Okay, yeah.
So it's jumping over Pilsner, it's jumping over hop shiner, it's jumping over Nordic pale into the ale, British style ale category.
Yeah, okay.
So very clearly for like great base malt, for an English style IPA, an English mild, and perhaps an English golden could work okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the styles, how many styles there are out there. Good
Yeah,
God, you
exactly.
can't go through every single style and say, oh, this one, that one. That's kind of the fun of recipe development, is you trial and see how close you got to the mark that you were trying to get to, and
Right.
adjust from there.
Yeah, it's up to the brewer to figure out what they want to do with it. Yeah.
Sure, and at the end of the day, the brewer's customer decides.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's the reality in the brewing world. Is when you first get started, you do what you like to do, and then after a while, you figure out that I might have to do some things that just the market wants too.
Right.
Yeah, but we've had quite a few different stories come back on the fairy tale ale. One of our brewers made a Vienna lager with it, and he ended up he started 100% fairy tale ale and just a little bit of Munich, and then that was too malty, too malt forward for the end customer that had pre-ordered that beer. So then they ended up kind of cutting back to, I think it was like 60% fairy tale ale, 35% hop shiner, and then the rest. Some Munich, to kind of find the balance of how much maltiness do you want in a malt forward beer.
Right.
So that's our fairy tale ale product. Definitively one of our biggest sellers. This has always been kind of a popular following for two main malts that we produce, the fairy tale Pilsner and the fairy tale ale.
Yeah.
Those have kind of been our standard core range flagship products, I'd say.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that makes sense because most people use in pale pils.
Yeah.
But hop shiner is kind of up there as well with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And see, there's the husks that I've elected not to swallow, so I can continue talking to you, Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
So chew some grain, chuck it in the drain.
I'm also trying not to get any.
But have you tried any of the other kind of specialty malt products from Bonsak, like the Special Len or the Honey Malt?
None.
I think
the only product I've actually tried is the hop shiner.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've only brewed with hop shiner?
Yep.
And like people are always confused about Hopshiner. Like what really? Yeah, it's a pale malt, but it's a really light pale malt. It's like designed to be an American style 2-row.
Right.
So it's not as malty as a European continental style pale, and definitely not as malty as an English style pale ale malt like Fairy Tale Ale.
Right.
But then it's a notch over the Fairy Tale Pils. It's just kind of that light maltiness, light bread, and floral.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of the Pils range. And when you move over in the Hopshiner, then it's more the kind of standard 2-row pale, which every American brewer would say, it's the canvas which I paint all of my beers on.
Right.
It is the number one used
Yeah.
malt in America for craft brewers, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we hop over that. You've only tried Hopshiner, but you've heard about kind of Fruitopia, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Just haven't had the pleasure.
So Fruitopia, I thought at the time I created it would be really well received by the market because a couple of years back and still to this day,
man.
people like fruity beers.
That's crazy.
And I thought, okay, all of the fruitiness is coming from either the esters in your yeast or the hops, or, of course there's been puree additions and that sort of thing, but I thought, how can I get a flavor of fruitiness into the malt?
Yeah.
So it was kind of it was definitely some innovation and trial and error, but this is where I've ended up. I'll let you try to put some words on it.
It actually is fruity.
That's amazing.
Definitely like stone fruit, apricot kind of.
But how's the sweetness to it though too?
Yeah.
That when you taste the ale and the farmhouse like we just did, it doesn't have that immediate sweetness like this does.
Yeah.
Gives the same extract and everything. The color's quite low.
That's so weird. It's like it's almost like you like coated it in like sugar, like apple sugar or like stone fruit sugar.
Yeah, there's no
do get that
ploys or
immediate,
tricks.
Yeah, you do get that immediate sweetness.
So
This is super interesting.
You just eat it raw.
Now I understand why you were talking about doing kind of like a project where you only use this as your ingredient, and then you try like different yeasts and just see kind of what actual fruitiness you can get with only malt.
Yeah.
And not kind of expressing it with the normal ways of like hops and purees and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just wanted, because at the end of the day, I always get the question, you know what the malt tastes like, but what's it going to do for my beer?
Yeah.
And so, with the Fruitopia, it was such kind of unexplored territory of having a stone fruit apricot style malt. It's like, okay, I need to be able to answer that question.
Yeah.
So I just did some homebrewing experiments, tried an SO4 and SO5, almost no hop addition at all.
Right.
Just to ferment clean and kind of have a real understanding of what the final fermented product would taste like.
Yeah.
And is it the Braggot that's just like half honey, half beer?
Beer, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Braggot. Is there like one that's half cider, half beer? Is there a word for that?
There is. I don't remember though, but there's what is it? I forget what it is. Yeah.
But in the end of the day, that's kind of how that product ended up tasting. It's like, this could be a cider, but it's not a cider.
Yeah.
It still has residual sugars in it, so it wasn't quite that dry.
Right.
But it had this very clear, fruity, distinct flavor to it that wasn't bitter on the front end. There's no hop addition really. So.
Right.
But it was a really interesting, unique product.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to do a whole video on this.
On the Fruitopia malt. We've tried doing like homebrew competitions with, in cooperation with Brew Shop in the past to have people send in different renditions, but I think we set the parameters a little too tight on that one because we wanted to see what people could do with it. Help us on this innovation journey because we can't do everything ourselves. Let the people have it and let us know what they find out and send us a sample and so that was interesting. But there was a lot of different styles of IPAs in that. We kind of said an IPA, but
I remember that because then you had to use Verdant.
And I think we set the parameters too tight, and we set like inclusion. So we should have just left it really open.
Just
for
like
people.
just have Fruitopia be your main base malt, and then go wild.
Yeah, but I think the challenge for everybody in this malt, especially for a lot of my commercial brewers, is they work a lot with the different inclusion ratios to find what the sweet spot is for that.
Yeah.
And like the best commercial example out there, I think he's using 55%, and the final IPA tastes like it has this like candy flavor to it, like gotere. So like when you go and stand at the grocery store,
Yeah.
you can free pick all of the jelly, all this stuff. It has that kind of distinct kind of fruity sugar flavor to that final beer. So it was actually a really good commercial example.
Yeah.
Using that malt.
I think we'll have to do some tests with one of the bags we bring back.
Yeah.
That'd be super fun, just to brew like a large quantity of of just the wort.
Yep.
And then throw it in, chuck it into like 4 or 5 fermenters and just different yeast with just a bit of hops just to make sure it's a bit more stable, and then see what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Please let me know what you find out.
Oh, we'll send you some cans. We'll can some up for you and send it.
So there's another application for Fruitopia. This is a honey malt. It has some similar flavor characteristics, surprisingly, to the Fruitopia, but not quite as fruity. And the honey malt is supposed to taste like a honey, but it also has this kind of like Glühwein, German mulled wine flavor. A lot of brewers in the States use honey malt in really small inclusions to kind of get the hops to pop in their IPAs. So I have one commercial brewer in Norway which uses it religiously in like the 1 to 3.5, maybe 5% inclusion rate on every single IPA he does.
Right.
Just because he really feels like it makes the hops really stand out and pop a little bit more. He gets more flavor out of the hops, which is another way of saying more value for your bang for your buck.
Yeah, because we were also kind of we've been experimenting with new recipes and looking at some GABF IPA gold, silver medalists and their recipes and stuff like that you can get from like Craft Beer Magazine and stuff like that. And it's kind of, we noticed that a lot have actually this like tiny addition of the honey malt. And
Yep. I mean, we have to call it honey malt to be totally fair about that, because Gambrinus out of Canada invented that malt, and they trademarked it worldwide, blah, blah, blah. So it has to be called honey malt here.
Yeah, okay.
And there was no honey malt supply in Europe. So I thought, why not? There's a common trend that a lot of things that happen in the States in the craft brewing community come over to Europe at a certain point.
Right.
It goes both ways, of course, with traditional styles and new innovation, new products, That's the open transparency issue, element, of course, of craft beer, which is great. But there was no honey malt supply, so I thought,
Fill the void.
fill the void. Fill the void.
Oh,
But then there's the kind of, going more to like, we've been talking about IPAs a lot and stuff, but if you think more like a Dunkel or a Doppelbock or something along those lines, that's really kind of, what I consider to be our maltiest base malt offering, like the most flavor that you would get out of all of our base malts. And of course, it's a Munich malt, so you get this graham cracker, a really deep, sugary profile, distinctly roasted, a lot of melanoidins. But man, when I give people malt house tours that don't know anything about beer, they always just want to keep eating this.
Yeah,
Like, can you just leave this on the table so I can keep snacking on it? Can I take a little bag home to put in my breakfast cereal?
Yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, kind of like graham cracker, kind of sweet. Yeah, like
mind you, we're in Norway. Nobody knows what a graham cracker is.
Yeah.
I'm still searching for them. I haven't found them yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But
yeah,
it is like a dark whole grain sugar cookie. Right?
Yeah.
So that's our Munich malt. It was one of my favorite malts to brew with, just because it provides me with so much character and so much flavor. I made an Imperial Dunkel a couple years back, just 100% Munich, nothing else, single malt beer, smash beer. It's just a crusher. It's so good.
This would be really good if you made that beer and then you took the spent grain and then dried it out and made like Knäckebröd or something with that.
I've tried that and experimented a lot with that in the past.
Yeah.
The trick to making good kind of granola bars or Knäckebröd is like you kind of have to add a little bit of sugar back. Because,
no, you definitely do. You definitely do.
Like, you need the emulsifier too, something to connect everything together. Whether it's honey or syrup or what have you. But
no,
the first attempts I made, like making granola bars out of spent grain, it was like chewing cardboard.
Yeah, because you've extracted all the sugar. Or
I know,
almost,
but
yeah.
I still thought like, yeah, there's still
A little bit.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of fiber.
Yeah, a lot of fiber. Yeah, and you still feel like there would be a lot of sugar left because, you know, when you're handling the spent grain, it's still like sticky and,
Yep.
you know, you're like, oh, it's got to be like sugar in that.
There's a little bit left in there.
Yeah, a little bit, not enough. I agree though. I've made it before, and you definitely have to add sugar.
Yeah, so that's kind of some of the malts I thought we could taste through. There's some Special N over there and some Pilsner over there.
So what would you use Special N for?
Special N, that's a good question. You know, Special B is a very common product that people know for Christmas beers, things like that. And I thought, well, why don't we have a special? Because Special B stands for Special Belgian.
I was gonna just
Yeah,
suggest that.
there's a Special Belgian. So I was like, oh, I need a Special N for Special Norwegian. And as a home brewer, what I didn't like about Special B was the astringency. Because it is quite dark,
Yeah.
and when you get that kind of dark in the color range, you naturally have astringency associated with the malt.
Right.
So I thought if I could come in at go for a similar kind of raisiny, pruny, that kind of a little bit of the Christmas flavors as well, like Christmas spice flavors, come in that kind of range, similar to a Special B, but lower in color, then you could express more of that flavor with a higher inclusion rate without getting all the astringency associated with it.
Yeah.
That actually turned out to in a product where I had the customer just kind of go, yeah, that's one thing that's nice about being a small maltster is when somebody really likes something but they'd like to make a small adjustment. I've done lots of batches for individual brewers saying, I like this, but can you do just a little bit of that? So Special N, he liked the product. He's like, but can you just add a little bit more color without getting up to the triple melanoidin range? And then I can use it in a lot of my British and Belgian style beers that are dark. So I was like, yeah, sure. So we did that and just pushed it a little bit further to hit his target flavor profile that he was looking for out of the malt.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
And then what is this last one that you have?
If I remember correctly, it's our Pilsner malt.
Oh, yeah.
Fairy Tale Pils.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we have one customer that says consistently it's the best Pilsner malt available in the Norwegian market. You know, Pilsner malt is like making a Pilsner. You got nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
It's really simple. It's really naked. You know, if you have a Pilsner that has a little bit of sulfuric acid or a little bit of grassiness, you know, there's different styles of Pilsners, of course, but you don't get that massive hop addition to hide behind.
Yeah.
Fermentation profile has to be really clean to produce a good product, and it's the same thing with Fairy Tale Pils.
Yeah.
It has to be a really clean, consistent product for brewers to be able to use it consistently for these, we'll call them naked style beers. You don't have lots to hide behind.
Yeah.
So all of your process failures or attempts at cutting corners really come to the fore.
Yeah.
But it's light grainy, light malty, light bread, floral, not so much earthy, that's more in the farmhouse range, but we get a lot of compliments for the floral aspects of it.
Yeah.
Fits well with kind of, you know, noble hops from Germany and
Right.
that sort of thing.
Then other than what's on the table, do you have any other offerings in your product lineup?
Yeah, we launched Nordic Pale, which I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Kloster Vienna is another new product we launched. It's because we had a brewer that had been, we've been supplying with that Vienna malt for actually a couple of years, but we just didn't launch it to everybody else.
Okay, yeah.
So now we've just kind of opened that Vienna malt range up for people to use something more robust than ale, but not have as many melanoidins as Munich as their primary base malt in all porter and stout beers. So there's that one, and there's triple melanoidin, which is kind of at the highest color range of what we offer,
Okay.
which is 180 EBC.
Okay.
So 2.6 to 180, and there's 10 products in
Yeah.
between.
Okay.
That pretty much fills out the portfolio. But of course, for us, it was important to have a number of different styles of malt,
Yeah.
for, of course, to be able to play into, you know, brewers' needs.
Yeah.
We don't have any caramel malts. You know, caramel malts, I think there's been a huge home for them as part of tradition in many styles. But you see that, you know, the interest in caramel malts has kind of been going
Right.
further and further and further down. And I think also part of it is that people are getting their residual sweetness from other types of maltodextrins and other things without the color addition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we see. But you mentioned, you're kind of using flaked wheat or other flaked oats and things like that. Those high molecular weight protein structures gives you that colloidal stability where the polyphenols and starches lay in suspension, so you get that haziness which stays and doesn't drop
out. Yeah.
So that we have some raw wheat for, and we have a malted wheat product as well. But
Okay.
I mean, the flaked oats do that job quite well.
Yeah.
Actually, I have another brewer. He's been using up to 10 to 12% raw barley for his haziness. It's full of beta glucans.
Yeah.
I was like, do you have any problems with runoff or loitering? He's like, nope. Okay, so it works on his system. That doesn't
Right.
mean it works on other people's systems
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
But it worked on his system,
Yeah,
and he found a home for it. So it's like, oh, cool. You never know. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's kind of one thing that's nice, is just having a lot of dialogue with a lot of commercial brewers and discussing different things, what's working, what's not, and kind of where they're wanting to go.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fun, collaborative part of being part of the industry.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to directly going back to the brewery and brewing with these malts. That's going to be fun.
Well, you're going to have to smell them in the van the whole way home first.
Hell yeah.
That was actually one of the first things that came. I had a brewer that came with the van. Like in the early days, people would drive here with their brewer delivery van and grab a half a pallet of malt or something and chuck it in their van. And I had a brewer call me 45 minutes after he left. He's like, in all of my time in the brewing industry, I have never smelled malt in my car before now. All the times in the old days, you'd drive somewhere to pick up malt, because this was before, long back in the Petite Agenture days and stuff. You'd meet up somewhere in a parking lot and get malt.
Yeah.
He said, I've never smelt malt like this in my van. Actually, there's a bigger brewer in Trondheim. He's got big bags of wiremen sitting all over in that malt storage room. He's got silos and stuff. And whenever we deliver him a pallet of malt, doesn't matter if it's in Zach or in big bag, he says, Tyson, I always know when Bonsak malt is in my malt storage room.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
Yeah.
It's like one of 30 big bags in the entire room. And he's
Right.
like, Bonsak malt.
Exactly.
I was like, yes,
Brought in
winning.
Yeah, brought in the stinky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sticky icky.
Dank. Give me some more of that dank.
Exactly. Colorado folks know.
Yeah, that's right. I had New Belgium. They were really putting a lot of work into that THC beer. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's legal over there now.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, dank hops, dank weed, match made in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sweet. Well, I appreciate you going through all of the lineup and also hosting us and letting us hang out and see everything. It's been so much fun, and looking forward to seeing this start up. And
Yeah, we're starting up real soon, so you're welcome to come back and see what's happening when we're in operations very shortly. So appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, sweet. The end.
Cheers!
Let's party!
All right.
All right.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
What's happening?
Nice to see you here.
Just, it's like you teleported into our new malt house, and we're here to talk about malts and brewing, so let's kick it off.
All right, we're here today. Here we are. Should we talk like this in an interview?
Every now and again, I like to pull out a little bit of that southern drawl.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're here.
Hey, my brother.
We're
Fucking
here
get her
eating some
done.
Bonsak.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking get her done today,
Yeah,
boys.
eat some-
You just fucking wait.
He tells us we're gonna eat some fucking malt.
Fucking get her done.
Fuck you. All right, so what are we doing?
Are we rolling? Are we going?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't catch that part. I thought we were still dicking around getting ready.
It's fine. It'll be.
Video is dicking around.
Yeah, that'll be at the end.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we can actually start. No, if you want.
Okay.